Hey, JD here, and this is how I have to communicate while I'm kicked off of Facebook for the time being. I saw a tweet that I responded to a couple times from Josh Buice, where he has a bit of a pity party about how he was picked on this week for leaving the Southern Baptist Convention, which is obviously a move that I'm in favor of, considering we did it 3 years ago and have been fighting a war that he has not been fighting for the last 10 years. I rejoice when I see the work of polemics bear fruit. Now, he lumped me in with Ed Stetzer and a writer for the CP, I think it was the CP, or some journalist, and Karen Swallow Pryor. He was attacked by KSP. And then at the end, he said he was critiqued by J.D. Hall. He was critiqued. I had a few one-liners on Twitter, and we had an episode about Josh Buice, and we have one more that we're going to do more extensively in his to review his swan song, because we were told by one of our contributors we didn't do a good enough job getting into the details of his swan song sermon and or note, letter, statement, PSA, whatever it was, press announcement, press release. We'll get into that in more detail, so that you're going to get critiqued another time by J.D. Hall. But I want to say this to Josh. I actually commend you. All of those names, we mentioned Tim Keller as well, I think. All of these names that you've been mocked by, I told you so. We warned you years ago. And I appreciate that in your tweet, you didn't say we mocked you, because we didn't mock you. You said we critiqued you, which is true. So thank you for that accuracy. That was fair, Josh. The chief critique is this: God has given discernment to the church for a reason. And when you shun it, like you did, when I gave a mild critique of G3, asking if Spurgeon would attend it, which was on the heels of ShepCon, when the main social justice leaders were given a place of honor at G3, as the war was starting, I felt like at the time we were doing, and I still feel that we were doing the job of Thomas Paine in his work, America in Crisis, letting you know the war's already started. Choose a side. Pick a side. And Josh, you decided to call me a fundamentalist. And then the reasons that you gave in your swan song, besides Ed Litton, were the same reasons that we gave 3 years ago. I still haven't had an apology for that pejorative. You owe me one. And you don't just owe me one, you owe one to thousands of followers of discernment who told you that you were on the wrong side, and that you were wasting time and energy and effort trying to polish the brass in the Titanic. So, first of all, thank you for not characterizing anything that we've said but as a critique. Thank you. Secondly, I don't appreciate being lumped in with Keller or Karen Swallow Pryor, considering, if you remember, Rosaria Butterfield tried to get me kicked out of G3 because I had criticized Karen Swallow Pryor, and Anthony Mathenia had to explain to you who Karen Swallow Pryor was, because you weren't paying attention to discernment. And the last 3 years since you've been awoke to wokeism, you would have already known, had you been paying attention to a gift that God has given the church. It seems to me as though you have spurned that gift, and instead of being a watchman on the wall, protecting the church from these leaders. You've been the guy platforming these leaders, and that this is a mess of your own creation, and you need to take a little bit of credit for that. That's on you, brother. As so far as leaving the SBC is concerned, that's not my critique. Good job. I'm praying for you. I love you. And even if you never apologize for calling me a fundamentalist, even though you've never acknowledged my existence other than conversations about kicking me out of G3 for criticizing Karen Swallow freaking Pryor, I can let bygones be bygones. I mean, I might bring it up from time to time, but you did the right thing. Congratulations. I would lose all credibility if I didn't, as a polemicist, if I wasn't an equal opportunist. And I also critiqued Dr. MacArthur for closing his church for COVID for a short time, and then I praised him when he opened it. And I critiqued him for his view of Romans 13 before he changed it. And I critiqued him for inviting the same speakers that you did as the war was starting over social justice. So if you have the ability, what I'd ask of you, Joshua Buice, is to look past the critique and ask yourself the question, why did JD critique me? Why? Is it because he hates the church and is not on my side? Or is it because he actually is on my side and does love the church and has been right all along? And maybe, just maybe, I should listen to the gift of discernment instead of spurn it. So Josh Buice, be blessed. I wish a blessing upon you. Have a great Lord's Day.